know, when I initially took this task, and I grabbed the 4 videos that were popularly being used for and against both sides, I thought this was going to be actually a close debate. Unfortunately, because someone like me who played a monkey's paw, who played pretty much an equivalent of a wish granter, aka the version of Bedazzled, where Elizabeth Hurley played the devil, so I understood how to look at things legally and the technicality of wording, I have to brace for the fact that the entire premise that I made this whole series on just got shot in the foot right from the jump. And it kind of pisses me off. But, unlike letting my emotions get the better of me on this, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to show why everything fell apart. Let's start with the basics. The core ideas of each side. As I stated in the prior video with the add-on, I pointed out that in both these cases, they change the mentality of the person. This is the angle they're going to take when they're going to debate. It's not going to be the same mentality, they're not going to be following the same rules. Like I stated in one of my other videos, we're doing the NFL versus soccer. It's FIFA versus NFL. This is the situation, and they're following their own set of rules. This causes a technical problem, because this changes their strategies, each side. Their strategies are completely different. This leads to a major issue that I had. And that major issue, simply put, was when it came to definitions. When I went to the pro side, I was wanting to blast them first, because I figured they're going to change words, they're going to move things around, yada yada, blah blah blah. No. They pretty much went, here's the definition, we're done here. Here's the definition, here's our stance, moving on. Boom, boom, boom. Done. To the point. And because they believe in creative freedom, it made perfect sense. Now on the other side, they believe they are protecting children.
There are real children being hurt, and you're complaining about fictional characters. This is genuinely the shittiest argument that I've ever seen in defense of Loli. First of all, that's completely irrelevant to the issue, since you could literally make that argument about anything. This reminds me of when my mom would say there are children dying of hunger, and I'm here complaining about having fucking Brussels sprouts. It's like, yeah, sure, but that's not the point. I'm having trouble understanding what the people who make this point want me to do. Do you want me to form a fucking posse and knock on every single person's door asking if they're harboring a child trafficking ring?
An advisor to the Canadian Centre for Child Protection had to say this about Prostasia. Are there any Prostasia campaigns that don't undermine online child protection? They claim to be a child protection org, but it's hard to find an issue where they err on the side of actual child protection. Prostasia doesn't have a victim focus, full stop. The goals of Prostasia is very clearly to protect the feelings of grown-ass adults. That is their top priority.
I obviously can't do that, so I'm focusing on the people who are readily available on the internet. And those people are you fucking lolicon cucks.
And one of them disqualifies themselves immediately. No, devil. No one is expecting you to go all Westwood and form a posse and bang on people's doors to find a pedophile ring. Are you telling me Shoe on Head did that? June? She went out there and did that? She got a whole bunch of people together? Hey, is there a pedophile ring in there? You're saying that's what she did? With that video? That's what she did, right? No, of course not, you disingenuous dickweed! What people were expecting you to do, devil, was make videos about certain things. Put out posts on Twitter about certain things. Alert people when things were going down. That's what people were expecting of you. Even on my roleplay characters, when there's an Amber Alert, I send it. When people are talking about things going on in schools, oh, this woman molested kids, I send it. I let people know, hey, this is still going on. This is stuff going on in the world. Even on a roleplay character, I have officially done more than you! That is kind of what's pissing me off right here. The whole premise of the anti-side is to protect kids, and yet you turned around and proved these memes correct. Why? Let us pray Asa, or Asalieri, doesn't fuck up as bad as you just did. Now I get why you went after the whole Pro-LoliSho thing. I get it. You want the clout. Be honest with us. It's fine. Be honest with everybody. Be honest with your audience, be honest with other people. You just want the clout. You saw that a lot of people like it, like the comments and the battles all over Twitter. You like that it comes up on YouTube. Look at me! I get it. I know. But you lost your moral high ground. But don't worry, you lost it way before there. Same with Asa. Damn near 7 minutes and whatever. Let's get into the video proper, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, organics of all ages. I'm Double R, and in this particular video, I would love to just be bashing on the pro side right now, but as I stated earlier, when it came to definitions, they put it out there, said here's their stance, and they moved on. Which leaves us to deal with the anti-side. As an ex-anti myself, this was actually painful to go through. Because what they're doing is what I assumed the pro side was going to be doing. Let me get into it. We're going to start with Asalieri. Because I'm a little pissed off at Devil right now for fucking everything up. The whole thing I had for a premise for this fucking thing. He just goes, no. Asa starts off pretty decent with this.
My unequivocal stance is that by being sexually aroused by or attracted to lolicon pics, you're being super creepy.
He finds it creepy. Hey, a lot of people do. That's why it's called a taboo. I'm with you so far. You're starting strong, you're starting good. I'm with you so far. You find it creepy, it's a taboo. A to B makes perfect sense. Good. Keep going. Stay on this track. Stay with this momentum. We're with you. We get it.
And you should be widely discouraged by the world in general, preferably by deleting all of it altogether. Besides, there's so much wholesome, normal porn out there online, why would anyone want to gravitate towards, hi, this is our elf kid character who is millions and millions of years old to avoid legal issues. Please keep buying our shitty games.
Wholesome porn. Wholesome porn. Help me, stepbrother. I'm stuck in a dryer. Cosplayers. Fucking. Oh no. Samus defeated. Wholesome. Wholesome. Age play. Armpit fucking. Skull fucking. Toe sucking. Tongue in the ass. Wholesome. So wait, back to the wholesome porn bullshit. If you wear a costume, do cosplay, and people jerk off to that, in the age play format, that's fine. But if it's animated in the Eastern format, it's bad. Alright. I mean, it sounds a certain way, but let's not go into that. Let's just be fair, let's be fair. Maybe that's not what he's intending. Maybe he's just saying, hey, watch some real life people fuck. I'm down. Asa, you literally just complained about someone that appears to be a child, but is a millions and millions year old elf. Besides the fact elves only count as adults after the age of 100 anyway. Let's just stop right there. This picture, full screen on this one. That's R. Kelly. much your excuse that you just used about the elf. Yeah, that's literally his defense. That was his defense. She looked of age, so it's okay. Now, Devil does come in with this. Devil does try to come in with the save.
It says in the anime that she's a 10,000-year-old dragon, get over it. This is something that I've seen used a lot. However, this argument is flawed for the same reasons that the whole 2-year-old girl with an adult woman's physique is flawed. Age doesn't play a role in determining someone's real age in anime.
You notice how quickly I stopped it, though? He counters his own shit with...
The reason for that is because these are meant to be depictions, as I've said many times before. If some anime character looks, talks, and acts like a child, then that character is obviously meant to represent a child. Same thing in reverse. If some character looks, talks, and acts like an adult woman, then that character is obviously meant to represent an adult woman.
Well, that's a fucking oops. You need to pay attention to things like this. This is why I tell people, if you're going to use anything for a source, go through it with a fine-tooth comb and be prepared for people to counter it.
Move number 1. That's not what the dictionary says. Now, I can't say the word on YouTube, so we're just going to have to use the word vouch to replace that term that Miriam Hein was so keen to defend in her ridiculous TEDx talk. So, anyhow, it's important that we establish the definition of vouchophilia. It's pretty common for a lolicon weirdo to defend their art by saying it's not technically vouchophilia. Now, the Webster Dictionary definition of vouchophilia is, it's a psychiatric disorder in which an adult has fantasies about or engages in. I want you to remember the keywords fantasy and or here, because the lolicon will try to slip in the definition of child and will conveniently only cherry-pick this part of the definition, a son or daughter of human parents. But wait, the definition of vouchophilia does not make any distinction as to whether the object of the fantasy has to necessarily be a real child or a fictional one.
Because in anime, like I said, age doesn't play a factor in determining someone's age in anime. So it'd be like a reverse of the 10,000-year-old dragon. It'd be like the 12-year-old girl who looks, acts, and behaves like an adult woman. So if you're attracted to that girl who has the adult body and behaves like an adult, then obviously you're not a pedophile because you're not attracted to a child body, a child mind, whatever it may be.
I brought up the whole thing with the definition of pedophile. That's what he put up there. Then he gets upset because people bring up child. Let's go ahead and do a full stop. That's why I put the whole clip up there so you could get the whole vibe. Full stop. Do you want to know why they bring up child? Look at that last word. It's in the definition. They're not trying to sneak up the word child. It's right there in the definition. Now, the problem I have, Asalieri, the major issue I have with you, is you fuck up hard with this.
But wait, the definition of vouchophilia does not make any distinction as to whether the object of the fantasy has to necessarily be a real child or a fictional one.
This breaks your entire video. Technically, if I applied this to Devil's, it breaks his too. But don't worry, Devil does it on his own.
If you're a lolicon, yeah, it's not just the fact that they're vulnerable. It's everything. It's their age, their mind. I mean, I've been repeating the same thing for like 10 different times. That's what a pedophile is. So it doesn't say in the definition of pedophilia, oh, this is only for real people. No, it applies to everything.
So, since both of y'all decided to break your own videos and fucked up my entire fucking premise, let me tell you why it broke it. Here's a definition of murder. Notice that there's nothing about fictional there, or real people there. So by your stated logic, by your stance, any movie that has had a character kill somebody on screen, we now have to arrest those actors. Even though the character itself is dead, and the actor is alive, you have used Type 2 roleplay logic.
It's just fucking ridiculous. I'm Batman. That's who Batman is, me, not anyone else. Alright? Some asshole can dress up like Batman and pretend to be him on a YouTube video, but that does not make him Batman, because I am Batman. You understand? There's only one person that could be Batman. That is me. Me. The character is me. I am the character. That is me, who I am. Batman is me.
That. To apply it here. You've just done that. It doesn't matter that the actor is alive, the character is dead. Since it doesn't matter if it's fictional or real, that means the actor must be arrested because they can't exactly arrest the fictional character who did the killing.
That's my bar! Shit. He copied my whole fucking flow!
That's kissed me through the phone!
He copied my whole fucking flow! Word for word, bar for bar!
Do you know how many arguments you fucked up with that? This is why I said your entire video is null and void. Every time you do something, and this can be brought up, I'm going to bring it up. Devil, same with you. Since you think it doesn't matter if it's fiction or reality.
You also don't need real children to be a pedophile. It can be any sort of child imaginable, and you would still be a pedophile. In order to be a school shooter, the action would need to have already been committed in real life. It can't be a fictional thing.
Same issue's going to come up. So what we're going to do with both y'all little quotes, take a pen. We're putting a pin in it. So every time y'all kill your own argument with this, I'll kill it. Sorry, but that's what you said. I put it in full context so no one can get confused, even you. This is why stuff like 2256 is a thing. Because they understand people will fuck up. They'll try to redefine things or try to spin a definition for their benefit. This is why a lot of people hate arguing with me. Because I tend to hold you to your own standards. You've made those statements. We've put a pin in it. So anytime it comes up to where I can counter you with your own statement, I'm going to. Now a lot of people do argue in the way y'all argue. Hands down, bar none. A lot of people debate the same way. They assume that if you speed through it fast enough, if you make a point quick enough, if you can get one word defined as a certain way for another word, or if you can spin it in some Jedi mind trick, then no one will question it further down the line. That's why I put a pin in it. So every time you try to pull that shit, we bring it up. I was expecting this to happen on the pro side, to be dead honest. Really, I was prepared to just make a little tombstone and put them in it. But no, here we are. So yes, Asa, they may cherry pick a certain thing. You, however, tried to spin it in a very poor light. And you fucked up. Just because it doesn't have that adjective of real fiction doesn't mean I have to stay just with that. Alright, murder works. Because they don't have the same adjectives either. That's what y'all put. That's what we use. I want to bring up this whole part right here.
If lolly porn is wrong, then you must think age play is wrong as well. This is another argument that sounds really good on paper, but once again, it's not. People like to compare lolly kinks to age play, and that if you have a problem with a certain kink, then you must have a problem with age play and all roleplay in general. The problem, however, lies in one main thing. Roleplay serves as a way to vent your sexual frustrations with another consenting adult. As weird as a fetish may be, if you could use roleplay as a way to ease your frustrations, then I'd say it's far more acceptable. I may criticize you still, but at least you're finding a way to simmer that shit down. With lolly porn, on the other hand, it's different because you aren't able to vent the sexual frustration nearly as much. Watching lolly porn, and just porn in general, doesn't actually simmer down your sexual frustrations, but instead amplifies it. It causes all of your kinks and fetishes to bottle up even more until you want to burst at the seams. That's why guys like Ted Bundy, someone who was a massive porn addict, resorted to bottling up all of his sexual fantasies with depraved types of porn until he could no longer hold it in anymore. That's why age play and watching lolly porn can't be compared, because they don't even result in the same effects.
I bring this up because when it comes to porn and devil, Well, his stance is this.
As weird as a fetish may be, if you can use roleplay as a way to ease your frustrations, then I'd say it's far more acceptable. I may criticize you still, but at least you're finding a way to simmer that shit down. Here's what I mean to say, is that people who put themselves in the perspective of the rapee, in other words, the person being raped, probably doesn't mean they don't want to get raped in real life, because that would, in both scenarios, they'd be the victim. In the fantasy, they'd be the victim. In real life, they'd be the victim. So it would constitute much more harm if that person had their fantasy of being raped enacted in real life. However, if someone is putting themselves in the perspective of the rapist, that's the problem. That's where I have a problem.
So, everything that has to do with porn, masturbation, or anything of that nature is pretty much null and void in terms of devil, by his own words.
Watching lolly porn, and just porn in general, doesn't actually simmer down your sexual frustrations, but instead amplifies it. It causes all of your kinks and fetishes to bottle up even more until you want to burst at the seams.
So him bringing up Ted Bundy.
That's why guys like Ted Bundy, someone who was a massive porn addict, resorted to bottling up all of his sexual fantasies with depraved types of porn until he could no longer hold it in anymore. That's why age play and watching lolly porn can't be compared, because they don't even result in the same effects.
Who stated that he purposefully pent himself up. He didn't masturbate. He didn't do anything to relieve himself. He let it pent up. He let it keep going. Why is this important? He pretty much says those LoliSho people shouldn't be masturbating. So with that in your mind, in the RAM, he presses on to the Ted Bundy part. Pretty much assuming that no LoliSho person, who actually is all about that, is going to masturbate. This comes up to one major argument from Devil that he loves to use. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's moral. Full stop. Whose morality are we speaking? According to the Pro-LoliSho side, it's fine by their morality, they can spank it to whatever cartoon they want. According to psychology, fictosexual, fictophilia, the paradox says they understand that, and they spank it anyway. They relieve themselves. They get rid of some of that pressure. Your morality is a bit different. Sounds like a technical oops. I'll give you that one. It's a technical oops. You're assuming that because your morality states they shouldn't spank it to cartoons, then they shouldn't and they won't. No, that side says they are going to. So they do get the relief. They do get pressure released. They don't become Ted Bundy. And that being said, going back to the psychology thing, of the fictosexual, fictophile bullshit, what are they going to attack? Comics? They're not going to attack kids. Kids aren't even on their list. Women are not even on their list. Anything 3D is not on their list. Well, except maybe a pocket pussy or a dildo. They'll destroy the shit out of that. But for someone who's against porn in general, you might not know or understand that there's toys for such relief. In fact, I kind of don't want to hear shit from you about sexual things at all after this comment.
I want to bring this up, a thing I said on Twitter. So did you see the part where I said rape, what's it called? Rape play, people who enjoy rape play want to get raped? I didn't articulate myself in the best way possible. Here's what I mean to say, is that people who put themselves in the perspective of the rapee, in other words, the person being raped, probably doesn't mean they don't want to get raped in real life, because that would, in both scenarios, they'd be the victim. In the fantasy, they'd be the victim. In real life, they'd be the victim. So it would constitute much more harm if that person had their fantasy of being raped enacted in real life. However, if someone is putting themselves in the perspective of the rapist, that's the problem. That's where I have a problem. Because you are literally fantasizing about raping someone else, about having sex with someone else without their consent.
You don't even understand BDSM in general terms. So I don't want to hear shit from you. You've lost your moral high ground. I don't give a damn what you say about sexual shit. At all. Hands down, bar none. You're anti-porn. You're anti-masturbation. I get it. So anytime you bring up a topic about that, guess what? I put a pin on that too. But since you did agree with Asa that it doesn't matter if it's fiction or real, I'm going to have to go ahead and murder one of your little topics.
Calling lolicons pedophiles is like calling people who like shooting games school shooters. This argument sounds good on paper until you examine it further and realize, no, it's not. There's a very clear distinction between playing a video game and masturbating to depictions of children. Fetishes and video games serve two very different purposes. The purpose of a fetish or a kink is to fulfill some deep-seated fantasy you have. People don't play shooting games for the purpose of fulfilling a fantasy or because they enjoy the actions being committed. People play video games for the story, the graphics, the characters, the gameplay. And also, these shooting games don't encourage you to shoot innocent civilians. You're supposed to go after the bad guys. The same can't be said for Loli. Loli serves the purpose of fulfilling a fantasy. Video games don't.
That. It doesn't matter if they're fictional or real. You're still using an entity to murder other depicted human beings. If so facto, you're still responsible, at least assisted murder, by your definition. And this is what I'm talking about when I said people try to use things to spin it and then hope you forget about it. You spun the whole thing of, it doesn't matter if it's a fictional kid or a real kid. It's still bad. The application of rule applies even in video games. You're controlling an entity. You have ripped away the consent of an entity. You control them, and you are murdering other folks, other depicted humans. Doesn't matter if they're bad guys, doesn't matter if they're good guys. In fact, in PvP standards, it's usually good guys versus good guys. That's the whole premise of injustice. In fact, in Marvel, that's the whole premise of the fucking Civil War. Good guys versus good guys. They're still assaulting other human beings. Depicted human beings at that. And by your definition, it doesn't matter if they're real or fake. You ripped away the consciousness, the consent from another character, and forced them to kill other characters, depicted human beings. That's solely by what you presented, Devil. This is why the Satanic Panic did not do well. Because they always took a step and fucked up. In addition, with the whole Ted Bundy thing, I'm pretty sure the number one thing on Ted Bundy's list of porn happened to be the LoliSho shit. I'm pretty sure that was just in there for, you know, it's just there, right? All he did was watch hentai and the LoliSho shit. That's all he watched. Now, to be fair, like Asa said, we don't have the adjective of what type of porn he watched. It could have been animated porn, it could have been CGI porn, it could have been real life porn. We don't know. There was no adjective there to explain that to us. But according to you, it didn't matter if it's fictional or real. It's all the same. So, with these these pins in your points, yeah, I will have no problem tearing apart your arguments in your videos because y'all fucked it up. Keep going. A+, gold star. Ruined my entire fucking premise in less than 5 minutes. Until the next one, guys. How am I supposed to go after the pro side when the anti side literally nukes themselves? They take a grenade, pull the pin, drop it at their own feet, it blows up, and now they're surprised. Oh, fucking hell. This whole entire premise was shot to shit because of both of them. They couldn't even... In a debate, you're supposed to straight up keep the definitions solid. You're not supposed to move the goalpost, because when you move the goalpost, you allow your enemy to move the goalpost. Fucking damn it. What are you still doing here?